Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bill again with HangaRatz. Final episode for the Narrow Deck O360 Lycoming. Hello there. Okay, so this is the deal. Is we're in the final throes of this engine. As you can imagine, it's about done. Again, we're a working shop, so sometimes we have time to look at stuff, sometimes you don't. The big thing is on assembly of this engine, it is essentially the same as the wide deck O360 that we did in an earlier episode. I'll put the link down below. But it's basically the same exact installation, all that stuff. There's really no major differences. The only major differences are some unique seal differences with the pushrod tubes. This particular engine, being an older engine, uses O-rings on both engines of the pushrod tube. A little bit different. This is, again, a parallel valve. The secret bolt, the one I've talked about behind the cam, on this particular engine, as old as it is, it's an AN bolt with a castle nut. So much so that we checked the parts manual. In the parts manual, we're using the 106 parts manual. It didn't even show that part. We had to call Lycoming and confirm the hardware. And they actually had to go back into their drawings and figure out what this engine had. But a little bit different. Instead of a studded installation back there, it is a bolt and castle nut. So just a little bit different way of doing things. Short of that, everything is pretty well about the same. The only big difference is you're going to be using those different wrenches we talked about on the last episode for putting your cylinders on. Now, what are we going to do this episode? This episode, and this again will be the final episode, but what we're going to do is we're going to be putting on a new ring gear on the starter flywheel. Now, this is the one off of this engine. We've got this all clean, painted, blasted, NDI and all that. This one actually has some outtakes for alcohol. This goes on a twin engine Travel Air. It's got the slinger ring built into the back of it. And again, this is for this engine. We do not have a ring gear on here. We're going to show you how to put that on. We have a brand new ring gear. Real important thing is on your ring gear is make sure that you have the correct ring gear, the correct amount of teeth that goes on that particular installation for your engine. So that's going to be a real important deal there. Let me get this thing open. Real important because the amount of teeth that are on the ring gear and the amount of teeth that are on the starter, they have to tick and tie. So it's real important. This is a replacement ring gear assembly. And there's a couple unique things about this that we're going to pay attention to. Is there's on one side there's a ramp in for the starter ring or the starter pinion to come into it. So we want to make sure that this is toward the engine where the starter's coming from. So when we put this on our flywheel, and the deal here is this doesn't fit. Well, how's it going to fit? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to thermally do this. We're going to put this in the oven, put this in the freezer. So we're going to do this while my wife's out of the house, so it doesn't smell too bad. So anyway, that's where we're going to do that, and then I'll show you how to take the old one off. Typically, we'll use a little cutoff wheel. I'll show you how to do that. Hit it with a chisel. So that's what's going on here. Big important thing here is when you're cleaning this up, there's a 0 on any one of these flywheels. There's a 0, and that goes to, normally it's going to be your thicker bushing on here. There's going to be one bushing that's different, and you want to make sure that is in the proper place. It can be put on wrong, and you can actually clamp the crap out of it. It can be put on wrong if you're in moron. So if you have any questions, get your engine to top dead center, number 1, and then get it where it's lined up. Either the backside markings are lined up with the center line of the crank, or it's lined up here on your starter on the front side. So that's what's going on. This is what one looks like. You can see here there's some holes in this one here. These are balance holes. So this one here has 2 holes drilled into it for balancing. Here's a different one. Again, this is the one off of this engine. It's got 3 holes drilled here. 1 hole drilled just a little bit, one about halfway. So again, all these are balanced on their own the wheel itself. So that's a good thing. So that's what's going on there. So without further ado, one of the things that we looked at was we're taking this one off because there had some damage on the teeth. This one is just worn out. There's some impact damage from a bad start, a couple bad starts, and we'll take some close-up pictures for that for you. But again, without further ado, let's go take a flywheel apart. Okay guys, I'm cutting this outside because it's I don't want to crap out the shop, so I'm just kind of doing it outside, keep any of that kind of stuff going. We have our cutoff wheel. This is the easiest way of doing it. I used to do this back before these came along with a hacksaw, so it's a whole much better. Anyway, we're just going to slowly kiss it along, and we're slowly getting where we're just having an edge and an edge, and then a feather edge, and then we'll pop this with a cold chisel. Pretty primitive, but it works absolutely fine. So let me get going on this.
Okay, so I'm just going to take a little minute of clarification here. So what we're looking at here is the flywheel. I call it the flywheel. It's actually just the starter adapter or something like that. I forget what the exact vernacular is. But the aluminum part here in my illustration is kind of the white part. The gray part is the way the steel ring gear sits on that particular starter casting. Now, if you notice, it's on a little bit of a lip or a shelf. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut as much of the steel as possible. Now, we're going to go into one of the gear teeth grooves. We're going to actually start there because it's that way it's going to be at its thinnest area to start with. So we're going to go in there, and then what we're going to just do is take that angle grinder, and it's going to have a round wheel, obviously. And what we're going to do is then trim it down as close as we can to the aluminum, but we don't want to touch it or get near it at all. If you notice on the video here coming up, I've got some blue tape, and that's just to keep me honest. So if I go and graze the blue tape, then I know I'm a little bit too close. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is just slowly sneak up on on both those edges, and I'm not going to get to the aluminum. I'm going to be shy, probably about a 64th of an inch, very, very close as I can, but just very, very gently grind it. I don't have much to grind. And then what I'm going to do, it seems a little Byzantine to do, but then what I'm going to do is flip that part over, and now I've got the yellow thing is going to be my cold chisel, and I'm going to strike that between the two teeth that I just cut the groove. And because that cut section, that little triangle there, is so thin, that's where you're introducing a fracture, and it will pop or fracture the ring gear, which will allow it to loosen and fall off. So nothing crazy, nothing unprofessional. It's just, this is the way we do it. Nice and easy to do. Again, I did it outside because I didn't want to get any junk in the shop where we're working.
be enough. We just cut it through the edge here. Now we're going to go get a hammer and a chisel. Okay, hopefully the wind noise wasn't too much for you. Okay, what we're going to do here, because there's an overlap, this kind of overlap, this flange is wider up here, so we're going to hit this. That way we're not going to be able to chip the rest of the casting. That's all we're going to do, is we're just going to introduce a little undue stress. Boom. That's it. Okay, ring gear is off. You can see it popped a little bit, so a little hoop stress. So this one is all off. We'll show you some sections of that. That's how easy it is to do. Just do it real slow, sneak up on it, and you'll have no damage whatsoever to this. This part will go back into, for this engine, this is for a separate engine, this one will go back into clean and bead blast and inspect, and then it'll get final painted, Aladine and final paint. So anyway, back inside. Hopefully I got the dead cat on there. Hopefully the wind noise wasn't too bad. So that's getting it off. These are the tools that we use to get it off. A little 90-degree angle grinder, hammer and chisel. But just take your time. Don't tear it up. Anyway, we'll go back inside now, and we're going to show you. Actually, we're going to sneak into my wife's kitchen, and we're going to put the other ring gear onto the other flywheel flange. So see you there. Okay, guys. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the ring gear and put the ring gear on the center casting. Now, the flywheel casting, we've got that in the deep freezer, and we've got the ring gear in the oven. So let's see how it goes. So this should be pretty quick. It's again, it's kind of neat but unspectacular. Be right back. Okay, just took that out of the deep freezer. Taking this out of the oven. Glenn, you got nothing on me, buddy. We have the ramp in where it's going to come in from the starter. It's going to come in from the back. We're just going to set this down here. And you'll see that this will sit down nice and flush. No big deal. And it is perfect. That's it. Ring gear installed. And then what we'll do is we'll let that cool a little bit, and then the temperature will normalize. But basically, that's putting the ring gear on. And we have the ramp in for the starter coming from the back of the engine, like this way. Straight cut is on the front. So that's it for putting a ring gear on. Simple Simon. Back to the shop. Okay, so you didn't think this was going to be a cooking show. Anyway, that's what it takes to put a ring gear on a Lycoming engine. Pretty simple. And you can even do, it's even the same thing on automobile crank flywheels too. So it's very simple. Anyway, like I said, this is what we did. We took off. This will end up going to blast and all that. This is actually for another engine, very similar. This is our finished product right here. And again, this will end up going on nice and pretty, looking great. And then on some aircraft, they will be bolting spinners on and that kind of stuff. If you did have a spinner on your flywheel, you would want to make sure, especially if there's any balancing done on the spinner, sometimes there are bolts and extra washers and all that. This did not have any. So you want to make sure those are indexed and you put all your hardware back in the same place. So pretty important. This is actually off a Beach Twin. So that's what it is as far as a narrow deck O320, O360. Really no secret sauce to them. Very similar to the wide deck. Again, I'll link my wide deck 360 build. We do have a 720 coming up. So no, pardon me, a 540 IO 540 coming up. We'll include you on that. We had a little C85. That was kind of a fast turn on that one. We weren't able to do a video on it, but I think I've got another one or two 90s or 0200. So we'll be doing a Continental. Few Continental folks. I know there's some folks out there that would rather see the Continentals. We'll do that eventually. So as they come in. So that's it. Kind of a little part of the Hanger How-To series, part of the engine build series. So again, this is Bill. The channel is HangaRatz, and this is part 4, I think part 4, part 3, part 4, whatever, of the O360 narrow deck build. So final part. Have a good one. Like, share, subscribe, notify, and we'll catch you guys later. Be safe.